It's been quite a while since I last made one of my general vlogs. I've been making quite a few of my food vlogs, but I think it's been, I don't know, I remember it being the autumn last time I put out a general vlog, so apologies for the long gap. Obviously, like most people, haven't had a lot going on because I've been kind of stuck in lockdown. But also, I've been making episodes of my cooking vlog, Cat Cooks. I think I'm on episode about 6 of that or something at the moment. And I've been having so much fun making that, possibly too much fun. At one point, I had to kind of put a ban on myself from filming any more stuff for it because I'd got really into the swing of kind of spending the afternoon making different dishes and filming it. And I had so many, like backlog. I've still got a backlog of quite a number of dishes that I haven't edited into episodes, and I had to tell myself that I wasn't allowed to film any more cooking until I had kind of made a good indent into all that footage and got them up in the form of episodes. So I'm working my way through that now. It was quite an interesting process. I developed a few other rules along the way, like not to try and film something that I was making for the first time. That sounds kind of obvious, but I did it a few times and I thought, oh, it'll be interesting. I can talk about how I don't know what I'm doing, and we'll see, you'll be able to see what pitfalls there might be for someone making it for the first time. But then I just found it frustrating because I would kind of, have so much that I would want to do differently, and then I would just want to film it again and talk about that as well. So yeah, I made the rule, to have made the dish at least once. When I was going back through the footage on my phone, that I film all of this on my iPhone, I realised how long it had been since I did one of these, because there's a bunch of footage that I took which was all to do with like autumn foliage in the streets around my house. So it must have been October. For my birthday in October, my partner Sergio gave me a gimbal, which is a little kind of tripod-y thing you can attach your phone to, and you can get kind of smooth moving footage with it. And I remember because there was loads of really gorgeous kind of orange and red leaves on the trees at the time, I took it out for a kind of walk and did some filming. And I haven't made a vlog since, so that that will be in this episode. It's kind of a little late to do a kind of full foliage montage, but that's what I will show you. We've had some interesting weather over the winter in the UK. I had a bit of snow, so I've got some snow footage. And also the other week, it was a lovely sunny day, and we hadn't had sun in weeks and weeks, so I took advantage of that to walk to the local park where the lake is that I love, where there's lots of kind of water birds, and I did some filming of those. So this is all stuff that I'm going to show you in this episode. I've been doing a little bit different kinds of gardening. I filmed a little bit back in the autumn. I had ordered a few plants to put in my back garden that arrived, and I planted them out, and I filmed that at the time. Sadly, since then, all 3 of those plants have died. I think it was the wrong time of year to be putting in kind of small new plants. They were kind of along the flower bed that's kind of overhung by a lot of tree foliage, and the leaves fell off for the winter. And even though I cleared that at one point over the winter to make sure that these small plants were still getting light, the next time I went out and checked, they had all kind of died. I think they just got too wet, got a very clayey soil here in London, which can get really waterlogged when it's wet. So definitely that's something I might be looking at, how to improve the quality of the soil a little bit, or just looking to buy plants that can handle really kind of wet clay soil. So yeah, even though those 3 plants have died, I'll show you the little bit of footage that I did when I put them out. We've also been doing some indoor gardening, which is kind of exciting. Sergio wanted to try setting up a kind of vegetable growing project indoors over the winter to see how we could kind of grow some out of season produce. He bought a little kind of trough, and he kind of adapted it into a wicking bed system where you have a kind of plastic tube that runs along the bottom of the trough with holes in it, and you kind of pour water into the top of the tube, and it kind of sits in the bottom of this trough, soaks up through the soil and kind of waters the plants from underneath. So I'll show you the footage of us putting that together. We've had mixed success in what we've been growing, but I'm going to take the camera in a little bit and show you what's going on in there. we've managed to grow some stuff. There's been some ups and downs, but it's just a fun project to have some greenery and stuff going on during the winter when it's all quite depressing outside and we can't get out into the back garden and kind of do stuff. And also talking about the back garden, I know I talked in previous episodes about how one of the problems for growing plants for me in the newly kind of revamped back garden was that there was so much overhang there's a massive ivy sort of plant and also quite a tall tree that dropped so many leaves over the winter, and it was we had to do repeated clearings that we kind of decided to take quite a bit off the top of that tree. And if we can get rid of most of the ivy, we're going to try and do that. We're midway through that process now, so I might show you the start we've made on that, and then in the next episode I can probably show you when we've done some more. We actually wanted to order a good ladder that we'd be able to use, that would maybe be able to make a platform to stand and kind of trim that. We weren't able to get it, so we just decided to do what we can from sort of ground level. So we've kind of cut the ivy off at the stem, hoping it'll kind of eventually die and it'll be easier to pull down. So yeah, I've got some seasonal stuff to show you, some autumn stuff, some winter snowy stuff, a tiny bit of New Year's Eve kind of footage. We never really do anything for New Year's Eve, but occasionally people will do fireworks kind of outside. And I'm usually a little kind of curmudgeonly about fireworks. I'm not too bothered about them. But it was actually kind of nice what happened in the end. We were awake at midnight and we heard some fireworks going on. And we looked out the window, and one of our neighbours about 2 houses down just had to carry a bag of fireworks, and he was setting them off in the middle of the road. But what was kind of nice was that some people came out of the house opposite, and they were really enjoying it. They were chatting to him, and he needed something to put the fireworks in, and they went and got a bottle, I think, for him to use and stuff. And it was actually kind of nice that the neighbours were interacting a bit and having kind of a nice New Year's Eve. So we just watched from the window. I've also continued my obsession with jigsaws. I think I finished 4 new ones that I can show you a little bit of. And excitingly, I've just had a big delivery. Me and my friend Katie got a big joint delivery of jigsaws from America, and I'm waiting for those to kind of head my way soon. So yeah, that obsession is showing no signs of slowing down at the moment. In terms of my kind of book news, my creative news, I've been really, really happy at how Breakwater, which was my second graphic novel, has kind of been received. So many people have messaged me to say how much they've enjoyed it. And of course there was the New York Times featured it and said it was one of their books of 2020, which was totally unexpected and wonderful, and really, really made me happy in the middle of what was quite a difficult year. So yeah, that was just such an unexpected, lovely thing to happen. It also had to be reprinted already. It only came out in November, which is maybe 3 months ago, and it's already been reprinted once. So that's really, really lovely that people have been buying it. And there may be some kind of future news coming about that book as well, which I can't talk about just yet, but we'll see. And I'm also starting to potentially work on an idea for a possible 3rd book. It's very, very early days, so I don't want to say too much about it. But yeah, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together on that and try and write a kind of general outline of what the plot of this story would be that I'm thinking of, to see if anyone's interested in publishing it. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. got 3 new plants for my garden. You might be able to see them behind me here. These are plants that I've chosen specifically to be good for shady conditions, and I'm about to plant them out now. It's kind of a slightly sunny day and we're heading into a week of rain, so it's a good idea to get them in the ground now. I've also got some pruning I need to do and some deadheading and stuff. My lovely begonias over here have got kind of huge and a little bit leggy, so I'm going to cut them back a bit. And my cosmos, some of them are doing brilliantly. They've got really, really enormous, so I'll show you that now. And I'll be cutting some of the dead flowers off those as well. Looking really autumny at the moment, this tree. So here I am in our little indoor growing area. I'll take the camera down in a second and show you in more detail what's growing around me. As you can see behind me, we have had one notable success so far. That's this huge tomatillo plant, although even that has some complications, which I'll tell you about in a second. So initially we started trying to grow 4 crops. There was the tomatillos, sweet pepper, cornichon, and Chinese cabbage, which I am obsessed with kind of cooking with at the moment. All of them germinated brilliantly, exactly kind of on cue. In fact, some of them were kind of really, really speedy. The Chinese cabbage germinated sometimes in sort of 4 to 5 days, which is super speedy. But we just couldn't keep that particular plant alive beyond the seedlings would come up really fast, like I say, in 4 days. And then they would get their first set of true leaves and just sort of keel over and die. And it happened about 3 or 4 times. I've restarted the seedlings and they've germinated well and then died. I posted on a gardening forum about it and I got a couple of suggestions. People kept saying spider mites, which I don't think it was because I've seen that before and there was no sign of that. Someone also asked me whether I was watering the seedlings from above, and I was with a spray because they were sort of so delicate at that point. I didn't want to pour water on. And this person really recommended watering from below, sort of in a tray with a little pot in a tray of water. So I tried that the final time and had exactly the same result, that they just keeled over. So to me, it seems like it's kind of getting too wet. Maybe it's damping off and the seedlings are just dying. But I kind of gave up trying after a while. What my plan is now is once the spring gets a little warmer here in the UK, I might try planting some of those outdoors and just see if I can get a better result. The other one that didn't get that far was the cornichon plant. Again, it started really well. And it got to the point where it was growing tendrils and starting to grip onto stuff. It got some really large leaves. And then the same thing, it just kind of died. And I suspect it may have been getting too wet as well. So that's another one I'm going to try, maybe outside at some point. But we do have at the moment a sweet pepper that's alive. Tomatillos, we've got my old chili plant, which has featured before on the vlog. That's still going and it keeps flowering. It seemed to really respond to having, I don't have the light on at the moment because the frequency of the light means I can't film with it on, the grow light. But this chili plant, which we've had for a couple of years now, responded really well when we put it under the grow light. So that's now flowering again at the moment. And I've got some onions, garlic, and some herbs. I've got thyme, parsley, and basil behind me here. So let me show you in a bit more detail. Up here is our grow light, which is on a kind of winch system. It can be raised and lowered as the plants grow. And as I've shown you already, over here is our fantastic tomatillo plant. But what happened was once this got really large, it started producing these amazing papery kind of fruit casings here. We found out that you're supposed to grow these in at least pairs of two because they can't sort of self-fertilise like a tomato plant can. They have to sort of be fertilised by a different plant. So once we found that out, it was rather late because we've got all these flowers that are kind of going to waste. And a lot of them have made these little paper casings, but when we shine a light through them, we can see that there's no fruit growing inside. So we planted a second one from seed. That's down here now. And if you can see up close, I don't know if you can see, it's actually reached the point where it's starting to put some flowers out just behind there. And one up here as well. So hopefully once that flowers, we can start kind of cross-pollinating these two plants and hopefully get some of these to fruit properly. The problem we had with our sweet pepper plant, which is here, and you can see it's got a pepper growing on it, was that it got kind of stunted at a certain small size and it hasn't grown taller. And the pepper seems to be getting larger and developing, but for some reason it just kind of got stuck at this small size. So I don't know if we're going to have any luck getting that to grow a bit bigger. Hopefully. I think a lot of things will improve once the weather warms up too. Here's my a friend gave me some onion sets to try growing, so here are my onions, and I've planted some garlic here. Here's the old chili plant that I've shown you before, which currently has one chili on it. And over here, some new flowers just starting, so that's kind of doing quite well. And here's my little herb section. We've got some basil growing here, which we've managed to keep going for probably best part of a year, which is good because we harvest from it kind of most weeks for pizzas and things like that. Got some parsley here and some thyme, which seems to be doing okay so far. And so yeah, here's where we fill up our kind of wicking bed down here. We fill water through this funnel and that keeps these plants watered from below. And here's the little overflow spout that we added. So once we fill up the trough, if it starts to come out the top here, we know that it's been filled enough. Look how exciting this is. I came in here yesterday to look for progress and there was absolutely nothing. But today, 2 Chinese cabbage little sprouts. The Chinese cabbage was always going to be the one that came up first. It has a germination time of 5 to 10 days and this has come up exactly on the 5th day, so that's exciting. Well, we finally got some sun. I haven't been to the park for ages, so I thought I would pop down there and see if I can find the Egyptian geese that I love that live down there on the, well, they call it a lake, but it's really more like a large pond. So I'm going to head down there now. So at the bottom it's, what is it, sand, that's silt, and that's clay, and then that's water, and then that's organic matter.